dragging my shirt, which is annoying me. But
oh yeah, no, it's okay. It's not too low. Unless that's what you're going for.
That's different podcast.
Really? You have a different one? Can you do that? Delete that, Rex. Okay. Yeah, you know, that's. I like where your head's at, and I follow. I don't really follow. We're just connected on Facebook, right? And just this bodybuilder chick, and I'm not like into that kind of stuff, but it's interesting. It's a thing, and I would love to just talk to somebody like that to say like, why? I'm curious. Like, why are you doing this? Why do you want to look like that? Not in a judgment way. I'm curious, like from a curious standpoint, like,
right?
Why do you do that? Do you want to be like the strongest looking woman? You know what I mean? Because that's not typical for females. But no. I'm curious of why. I just want to know why. And that's why I was like, okay, you want to be friends? Let's be friends. This doesn't sound so childish on Facebook. You want to be friends? Let's be friends.
It's the way of the world, though, now. But you could say that for a lot of different things about the way individuals do their hair or the clothing that they select or shoes. It's all personal preference.
But she's huge, dude. She's fucking jacked. And I'm like, whoa. And here's my point I was trying to make. I'm like, okay, fuck it, dude. You want to be friendsies? We'll be friendsies. But, you know, it's like one of those Facebook friends. I don't know anything about you. We've never had a conversation. You know, it's like one of those typical type of friends. And I found her, I guess we're also on Instagram. But this is where I was going with that. Completely different page on Instagram. I was like, I'm like, yeah.
Took me a minute.
I was like, you know, because sometimes I'm like scrolling through and I was like, wait, I know you. I was like, whoa, this is a completely different you than the one that I'm seeing over here. Over here, it's like competitions and I'm at the gym and I'm doing, you know, flexes and this and that. And on Instagram, it's like the other side, literally. I'm like, whoa, let's talk about this. For branding purposes, like this is off script, of course, but
yes.
I'm just curious for myself, like, is that good for business? It's a completely different person.
Well, technically.
Because business is what is business for her, right? Money, probably? Attention?
But I don't know her, but yes. I mean, ultimately, I'm sure she has a goal of having financial income through what she's doing. But with best practices on social media, they do say that you should have content different for each of the platforms that you're on. Instagram is a different type of audience than what Facebook is versus LinkedIn, TikTok, all of those. But if you are posting literally the other side, completely different content for Instagram, there has to be a goal there because she's intentionally literally cherry picking. And you're talking about different ends of the spectrum, right? Like bodybuilding, professional competition to then other
bedroom.
Yes. So there has to be some sort of goal or branding point that she has there. And maybe she does have an OnlyFans page. Maybe there is some sort of goal that she has to, yes, she does competitions because that's what that industry is like. But because she has the body that she has, she's also seen another way to potentially gain followers and likes and revenue, right? Because if you reach a certain amount of likes and followers, you can start to then make money off of that. So
it all depends on your goal for your business, right? Or your business, which leads us to your business and
your branding,
you, right? Because like we were just talking about, people buy the person, right? Most of the time they buy the person or the brand. We'll say the brand because in certain cases, like Nike is not a person. It may represent several different people, but
I was going to say they do have individuals that now are many faces of Nike.
Yeah. So you're really not, unless you're buying like a Nike Jordan. So then you are buying the person. But if it's not Jordans, if it's other shoes, you're not still buying the person. But in this case, you are buying the person. So it all depends, right? It all depends on the person. What is your desired effects, right? Is what you're doing just for money? Are you just trying to get money? Because if you're just trying to get money, then okay, followers, subscribers, pay like a monthly service fee or whatever for whatever you're doing, then I guess that's what you want. You're getting what you want.
But to that, using your example, you were introduced to one brand and then saw the other brand, connected the dots. And if you were a different type of person, and who knows, maybe this is in your head, you could have unfollowed her Instagram and then saying, I don't even like that content. I don't like that side. I don't want to even follow her on Facebook. So she is taking a gamble in being so different and so polarizing, because it's not like
It's
she's
risk.
just massive risk. And it's fine. That's her choice and her brand. But a lot of brands take a risk when they come out and do something, I want to say extreme, right? It's like in the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of brands come out and take a stance on a lot of cultural and political views, and some that has been very good for them, but it's also hurt them. That's a choice that you make as a brand. And she's made that choice. And who knows if she's made it for a strategic reason or just a financial gain in a moment versus a long-term plan.
Risk versus reward. What are you willing to do? I guess at a level that is at like a beginner's level, I'm just kind of just putting my face out there. This is a good point, because a lot of people that are just starting out, they're not looking at like their possible success in the future, right? There's like, in this instance, right? Let's just say in this particular instance, this woman is not thinking about what she could be doing in 10 years, which could be related to something political or maybe, I don't know, something professional. And now this is out here, like here forever. And that could really affect, the future. Because I think most people have that same mindset. They just think, I'm just going to think here because this is what I want right now. This is what I want right now.
Yes.
This is what I was talking about with my people last night too. It's like, we have to create a purpose, your purpose. And it's the same, your personal and your business purpose. They can be different, right? You have your personal life, but your business needs to have a purpose. And if that business purpose is based off of what you want that day or that minute, that year, how you're feeling, like, I just want money, I'm going to do whatever I can for money, that can change. And then comes the inconsistencies. We were just talking about this the last show, about being consistently showing up the same way, which should be who you are, right? This is your personality should not change. You should be the same person throughout. Even if you want to have several different projects, you should still show up the same. And I think that is a pitfall for people starting out. They are wanting to do what they want right now without a vision, a purpose on the horizon. It's just like, oh, I know how I can make some money, right? And then they do it. But hey, man, think about it. Just think first. I think you could probably do some branding with somebody like this, still maintain the integrity of the brand, and still reaching out maybe a little bit, a little provocative here, maybe a little professional here, but not something so polarizing like look at me, I'm going to go for this professional championship thing here, and then over here it's completely like the dark side, right?
Well,
in the sheets.
That has so many layers to it. I mean, that in itself could be a whole episode and podcast series, because throughout history, in terms of the female body and female rights, and the fact that she's portraying herself in a really strong way in bodybuilding and doing a competition, but then putting herself in this light that is seen as a sex object. Is she doing that in an empowering way? I mean, there's so many different conversations you could have around that. And that's why it's so complex from a brand standpoint. From a business standpoint, to what you said, not considering where that you are going to be in a year, 5 year, 10 years. That's why branding is so important in the beginning. It's the foundation. You have to ask yourself, along with your business growth, what your brand looks like. Because in 5 years, if she does want to, let's just say, run for office, all of that is going to be there. Even if she wants to start a different type of company, a baking company, someone might say, hey, we found these photos of you online. Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you can't put it back in.
Yes.
And that's very, very hard to come back from. I just had a conversation with a client yesterday. They're starting a business, and we had the conversation of her brand. She's going to be the face of the company. And what does that look like to her? How does she want people to see her? And then building the company, does she plan to sell it? And if you are the company and the face of the brand, what does that look like, and how to sell yourself?
Damn.
A lot of layers, like a gobstopper.
There are. Yeah, there are a lot. This is why this is so important, even to just listen, right? Listen to us. These are like everyday issues that people need to just at least think one time before you start up. And I try and think about these things every time I post, or every time I put something out there. What is this? Not in a way like, is this going to hurt it goes through my VIP filter, right? My value, importance, and purpose. But it also is like, am I wearing somebody else's brand right now? And that's why, right? That's why I went ahead and said, hey, you know what? Instead of spending money on somebody else's brand, why don't you invest in your own brand? If you believe in it so much, right? Why don't you just go have? I had a few shirts made for the cost it would make that I would have paid for a really expensive brand name shirt, but I'm now having the opportunity to like showcase my own brand and let people know, like, hey, look, this is the brand. And I think people should not just this particularly, but keep that in top at the top of your mind. Like all your actions kind of need to go through a filter. Like, okay, are you starting a company? And if you do, like, think about what you're wearing, think about your actions, what you're doing. Should I get into this project? Is this aligned with my brand? I've had people in my life when I first started doing this, they were like, dude, I want to do this with you. I'm like, okay, we planned and let's do it. And then last minute, they were like, I can't do it. It doesn't align with my branding. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I wish
But
you
how
would
do
have
they not
thought
know?
about this.
Yeah, how did they not know? Like I just had a conversation this morning with somebody, different client starting a new business, and I said, figuring out your mission and your core values are going to be really, really important because that's going to be, like we talked in the last episode, your North Star. And in talking to that individual, had they had those things defined of who their brand, who they are, their brand, their company, what they stand for, they could have very easily in the initial conversation say to you, yes, that's spot on, I want to do that. Or actually, I love the idea, thank you for the offer, but it's really not on brand for me. You just know immediately. If you don't know immediately, like, yes, there's some things that you have to ponder, but if you have an answer sooner than later, you're probably closer to understanding and knowing your own brand
Yeah.
than someone who has to think about it.
Yes. The brand was, I don't know. Personally, I think it was bullshit. It was a bullshit answer. Really, dude. Really, I really
It
do.
was an
Because,
excuse.
I have another, um, I guess another, I wouldn't say, I guess not really a show, but I kind of focus on masculinity for men, modern masculinity. And because I'm trying to help bring like modern masculinity into like the norm.
The world
And
needs it. Thank you for your
yeah.
service. Serious.
And it's really just about like when to be strong and when to be soft. Because really, for me, this is the problem that, and I don't want to turn this into one of my other episodes, but this is a quick problem right here. If we all just think of it as masculinity and femininity, not as male and female, but as masculine as being strong and femininity is when to be soft. If we just think of those very simple terms, then we can connect with, okay, I need to be soft right now, right? Either with my in my relationship or in my professional relationship at work, or this is when I need to be strong. This is when I need to be masculine. I think people have used these two terms as like weapons, and it's like, oh yeah, you're toxic masculinity, and you're feminine, and men are like, what's that feminine? But if you told a man, you know, maybe you have a daughter, you know when you need to be soft with her, right? Yeah, okay, that connects with the man more than you have to be feminine with her. He'd be like, fuck that. I'm not going to do that. Right. I'm not going to do that. I'm a man. Okay. So let's change it a little bit. This is why I call it modern masculinity.
Yeah.
Where we talk about being strong and being soft. And also this invites males and females into the realm of modern masculinity. It's not just a man thing because there's a time, and that's actually a time like now when women have to be strong. They have to be strong because
facts.
This is right. This is where we were. Men were strong. Men were in charge. But now we're like women are now, and you may not even realize it. You're in a masculine role, but you're now having to be strong. And I don't mean like just paying bills. Everyone just thinks, oh, she's paying the bills. That's strong. No, she's doing what she has to do, man, to survive. That's survival. I mean, making strong, like making decisions. She's the one making the decisions in the family because you can't step up to make the decisions, or you can't put your foot down to tell this individual, like, no, fucking know when to say no, man. And the same.
But that also comes, like, yes, that's a life thing, but that also comes into companies and branding. Knowing when to have messaging that is soft and sensitive and understanding versus authoritative, professional, intense. A lot of brands can come out incorrectly after a certain incident has happened. Going back to social media, tying this a little bit together.
Okay.
A lot of people, because I just thought of this and I feel like this is a good topic.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not have for social media what's called a living room policy. And that is a playbook on how social media should be handled and run. In larger corporations, it's definitely needed because it's a guidebook for if an employee, let's say you let them go and they go rogue and they start posting negative things on social media, or even if they're still employed, how do you handle that? What if you're employed by a certain brand, what can you and can you not say? If someone posts as just a consumer a negative comment on your feed, how do you respond to that? If you are in a certain industry and something tragic happens, how do you as a brand and company respond to that? There's protocols that you have in place so you can be proactive versus responsive. And social media, because it's so easy to get on there and instantaneously send a message to the world, people are so quick to do that versus going to the other side of your VIP thought process of how do we respond to things versus just putting content out there. I think people need to understand how to do critical thinking and responding to comments or situations that happen that might be in relation to their brand or their company. Does that make
Oh my
sense? That
gosh,
was a lot of
absolutely.
information.
No, that's I love that. Yeah, we're that was actually on the agenda today too. I think talking about that when you're making, because it's so easy to get caught up in our emotions again, right? When you see something, you see some kind of a comment or review, a feedback of some sort. Now, look, we all know we cannot and we will not be able to please every single person, but there are times where you want to reply in a way that's like, well, screw that, No, this is not, I don't know if you've taken account of how I respond to every single person almost the exact same way. I'll just say thank you for sharing that. Really, thank you, or thank you. Thanks for sharing that, or thank you, because I am thankful, even if it's not good.
Right.
I don't want to. I don't want people to think that I really am first of all thankful for sharing, because if you're sharing, then you're watching, or you're reading, or you're listening. You have a different perspective and you're on a different path than I am. And I'm not going to say, oh, well, the way you just see that is not correct, because you're seeing it through your lens. How can I tell you how to see something? This is how you're seeing it. It's different. That's why I learned to control, right, my emotions, which for the most part, and that helps me control how I'm going to feedback. But what you're saying is almost like a policy, which is good. It keeps everybody in line, because sometimes I'm just an organization of like less than 5. So, and I'm the one usually doing all the stuff, so they don't have to worry about a policy. But if you have someone who's got active
A
engagement in
team.
your team, and it's like, okay, guys, or team, yeah, you can stop saying guys. It's just a de facto, man. Okay, look, I don't mean
Oh,
anything by it. Okay,
yeah, you're good.
hey peeps,
Hey, humans.
right? Oh my gosh, one of my ex employees. Fuck, I'm sorry. One of my ex team members were like used to say that all the time. Humans, my humans. You know who you are. You're probably listening. You're telling me that you're listening, and you are. I know you are. She used to say that, humans, and I'll give her so much shit. I'm like, stop it. Well, just call me by my name. You don't have to say that. Anyways, I forgot my train of thought. Where was I going?
We were talking about a policy.
Yes, the
When
policies are good when you have
have a
active engagement in your team, because for me, I can control me, but
it's,
if I don't have a policy, what happens? Anybody can just react on those emotions.
and it's the consistency that everybody on your team is going to show up the same way, that they're going to respond the same way. It also stops negative situations from snowballing even further. Like just the first example I think of is that from the years that I worked at Mace brand pepper spray, we were very active in school security and trying to work with schools and other establishments on prepping and preparing for active shooter situations or active threats. Well, anytime an active shooter situation would happen, we would get inundated by the news or social media posts. And how do we as a brand respond to that and not be ambulance chasers or respond negatively? That could really damage a brand if you don't do it well. And it can just take one employee of a brand to quickly respond without having protocol. So I tell clients, like, just don't post anything. Ask a question, reach out. Like in the policy, it should also have, if you're unsure, go to Bob.
Yeah.
Who's head of whatever, that can answer the question to, and that can also happen in a positive way. I can't remember the steakhouse, but this happened years ago. Somebody was tweeting, this was back when Twitter was Twitter, not X. Someone had tweeted, I'm stuck at the airport. Man, when I get home, I really want to have so-and-so's steak. That brand showed up to the airport with a to-go order for that person and like found them.
Wow.
Amazing. I mean, pretty phenomenal the way that they responded, and that blew up, like absolutely went viral because of the positive use of social media and them engaging in a correct way.
Yeah, it's almost like a uniform for feedback.
Yes.
Like, okay, guys, we're not just gonna, don't just, I know what they said is but sometimes you got to also take account that there's trolls, that they just unhappy, or they're
Yeah.
just looking for a reaction from your business or from your brand or whatever. And
Yeah.
they're like, okay, I was waiting for you to say that snapshot. Now I'm using this against you later. And it's
Yeah.
like, man, you
Use the
got me.
same policy when you get an email from someone or a text message from a family or friend that upsets you, and people say, just take 5 minutes, cool down. Do the same thing with social media. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be there. So
Yeah.
just give it a minute, give it a beat.
Oh, you know what? That did happen to me. Oh, man. Let me tell you that real quick. So, one of my family members made a comment on one of my videos a while back, and it was pretty like out of the norm. It's like, what? Why would you? This is not. You're a family member. You're a part of my freaking tribe, and you're over here saying like, "What's the point of all this? Unless you're getting paid, who gives a shit?" And I'm like, dude.
Oh,
And you don't know how like that's family, and you don't know how bad I wanted to just because you know family, so all their weak points, all their history, all their
and they
trauma.
know
So,
your buttons.
yeah. So I could have just been like, remember that one time? No, but I was like, hey man, thanks for sharing. And by the way, are you doing okay? Everybody okay over there? Like if you're looking to, you need to talk to somebody, let me know. We just got to always just kind of keep that
Yes.
like in line because I don't know, maybe they're looking for something. Like, oh, see, I told you.
Yeah, but that's not the way to show up. And by you responding in that way, it backs up your brand and all of your content. If you were to respond differently and put them on blast,
Yeah, that
which
would
we can
be
all think about that's fine. But that then cancels out all of that
all
trust
the
and
work.
loyalty that you're
Yes,
trying to build up
yes.
with your content. And people see that, they watch that. And it's so hard to build a following and have that positive trust and loyalty grow. And those steps are very small when you're trying to grow, but doing something negative does way more, way worse,
Way worse.
way worse, which is worse and more put together.
Oh, you just made up a new word.
Yes,
It's way worse.
way worse. It throws you so many steps backwards.
It's way worse.
Way
It's
worse.
way worse than that.
More
I'm gonna
worse.
start
Way worse.
using that word. Let's start using that word. Hashtag way worse.
Way worse. Oh,
Oh God. Yeah. You gotta be
yeah.
cautious. Be very cautious out there. Like on yourself. Like that's a great tool. That's a great practice and policy. Just throw it in place.
Yes.
And like I said when we started this, when you're starting out, utilize it now. Create the policy now. Use it for yourself. So let's say you've grown and now it's like 5 years later, you actually have employees and now you don't have to, oh, what am I going to do? You already have those guidelines set in place. It's like, oh, hey, by the way, I've got this policy set up. I don't do that. I don't do this kind of thing. And we don't respond this way. And I'm just going to roll you guys into it instead of having to figure it out later. It's good to think about and start applying some of these strategies as early as possible. Like I started, oh, let's see. Somebody was like, where was I? I was at a convention or a symposium or something, and someone's like, "Oh, hey, here's one of my hats or one of my shirts," and I was like, "No, I'm good." He's like, "Why not?" I was like, "Well," I'm like, I know that you don't know me, right? I'm not like anybody famous, or I'm not a celebrity. I'm not like anything like that, but not yet, right? That's how I think. Not yet, and I'm not trying to get that status, but you just, Jess, you just never know in life, and I told him, I said, well, first of all, it's got no offense with your company. I understand what you're doing. And it's so smart. It's so fucking smart to give out your shit so I can wear your shit for free and just brand you for free. That's what all of these companies are doing.
Yeah, we're all walking billboards.
That's all you're a walking billboard. And now you want me to be a walking billboard. And I understand the concept and it works. It really does work. But I would rather be a billboard for myself first, and then maybe if I've used your product or if I know you as an individual, right? We're selling ourselves here.
Yes.
If I trust you through credibility, longevity, I know you're going to show up. I know you're that type of person. Your values align with mine, right? You're that kind of person. Then it's like, yeah, okay, maybe I will wear that because I trust it. I believe it. But I just met you. I have known nothing about you, and you want me to wear your shirt? Are you crazy?
But I love you sharing that because people need to understand how critical that is and how now today more than ever individuals are shopping that way, because you work very hard for your money. And people are now aligning themselves with brands that align with their political, cultural beliefs, and they put their money into brands and people that back that. So by you recognizing that, and also that person understanding that, it's important because that goes right back to how you show up on social media. What you put out there is what people are going to see you as and decide if they're going to follow you or support you by buying your swag or wearing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had some feedback again from another one of my old teammates, and this is what got me thinking about this kind of thing in the beginning. She's like, "Hey, I like what you're." No, backtrack. She didn't say that. She said, "I was like, hey, are you watch any of this stuff?" She's an old friend of mine, and she's like, "Oh, but she's also takes a different political standpoint than I do." It's never been an issue for us though. I can get along with everybody, and we just don't talk about that kind of thing. Or I can listen. I understand everyone. Like I said, everyone's on their own path, and everyone is living their own life, and that's what freedom is. That's why this country's so beautiful, because we can all do and believe whatever we want, and
have healthy, constructive conversations where you walk away and still respect each other.
right. But I'm at a point in my life where I'm like emotional intelligence fucking CEO. So I'm like,
Yeah.
you can tell me anything in the world. I'm not going to get offended. I'm not going to get hurt. You're going to go and tell me that, if I was a believer in, Jesus, God, and you're like, if you're, I'm an atheist, fuck that. And I'll be like, okay, that's your life. I'm not hurt, and I won't be. It's just where I am in my life. I'm not.
But I get it.
What you say, it's not going to offend me. I'm not that person anymore. It just takes growth and learning and real strength inside to understand everyone's on their own path and to love and respect everyone that has a different opinion than yourself. That's tough. That takes real strength.
It is, but we need people with different opinions. If we were all the same, this would be really boring.
Yeah, it would be. So, we have different, political opinions, and that's okay. We usually get along. And she's like, "No, I don't watch your videos because I already know what they're going to be about." And I was like, "Really?" I'm like, "Why do you say that?" She's like, but this is a good point. This is a perfect point for what we're talking about. She's like, "Oh, because of I saw a glimpse of one of them, and I was like, it's going to be something like conservative, something Republican, or something like toxic masculinity, or something." I was like, "Wait, why? Why do you think that?" I'm really curious why, because you're my audience, and I want to know why you're not even tuning in, and it's because of the colors I was portraying, of the things that I had in my background, of the titles that I was using for some of my videos, was completely just throwing her off before she would even listen to it. Because I don't take any political stances on any videos that I've ever made. No political stances. I may have, I may support the Second Amendment, right? Because we got to protect ourselves. That's just a given. I mean, stop. But that's a huge thing. That's never going to go away. But that's pretty much the only thing. And there's nothing else that I talk that's very controversial. It's very forward-thinking coaching. Technically, I'm a very creative person. You would think I was a liberal if I didn't dress so conservative. Really, I'm a very creative person. All the work that I've done for like this type of digital stuff. Plus, I play guitar, I write music. I like to do like artsy type stuff, dude. But I'm on the outside. It's like raw guns, off-roading, right? Military veterans, yeah, dude. We can all fucking really coexist. Okay, we can. We just gotta accept other people. So that got me thinking about. Okay, I don't want to dismiss people that are not even going to give this a shot because of how things look. Because it's about. I don't want to brand myself as left or right. It's not a political show at all. Okay,
true. I just have so much.
Go ahead, say it all.
That, yes, fair, understood. But that very particular example that you gave, you're talking about an individual who has opinions based on some, we'll say, symbolism, right? The American flag, for example. Whoever thought that we would be in a day and age where the American flag upsets some people? You should be able to have an American flag on your hat like you do right now and not have someone assume that you're one way or another. But unfortunately, we do have that. And there's nothing that you can do about that. If someone is going to jump to conclusions within 2 seconds, I feel like even if you didn't have an American flag, there might be some other element in your videos that would stop them from watching anyways. If someone's going to jump to conclusions in 2 seconds without giving it a shot, that's their process of reviewing things. And no matter what you do, you might not be able to change that. Does that make sense? Because that's how they're processing information and how they gauge whether or not it's worth their time. Whereas somebody who might be, oh, this might not be up my alley or in line with how I normally view things or take in information, but I'm going to give it a shot because I am interested. Like there's different ways people, and I'm trying to be so nice, right? There's just some people that are more open than others to content versus being like, no, I don't even want to hear. And if someone doesn't want to hear in general, then I don't think that there's anything that you or anyone else could change about their brand that's going to make them more open-minded.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah, you're right. They're like we said in the beginning, okay, this is, one size fits most. It's not going to be a one size fits all. I don't think there's anything that exists that's a one size fits all. But I still took that into consideration.
And
Like
as you should,
I'm like,
yes.
okay, let me just change up a few things because the background was just like all camo and my guns hanging out in the background. I was like, okay, maybe
Fair.
this isn't a gun show, right? This is, I mean, that's a gun show, right? That's a gun show. That this isn't a gun show. There's plenty of other shows out there, but it's portrayed as like first 5 seconds, you're like, oh, this is probably talking about guns or fucking Trump or something. And it's like, no, it's not. But I appreciate that feedback. I really do, because I'm like, oh, okay, now we're like getting into like some serious like no shit like human feedback on something that I can't see. I'm too close to the image. And if I'm going to brand myself correctly, I need to really make sure I'm portraying the image that I want. And I said, okay.
I love how they told it to you, right? Like they were polite, graceful, and honest.
Yeah. And that's just, and I could have taken it a completely different way, depending on who you are, right? In life, it's hard to take personal criticism, right? It's really hard. But if you're in a point in your life where like, no, I'm open. Please tell me, what are your thoughts? I may agree. I may just say, I think I'm good, but I'm still going to listen no matter what, because you never know, man. Growth is about listening to other people, other things, other perspectives. If you're just going to stick with what you're doing and you know best, you know everything, you're never going to grow that way. People don't grow that way. You got to listen to the other side no matter what it is. So,
hey, plants don't even grow that way. If the weather was same all the time, they would never grow. It takes different types of climates.
Yeah. So, I figured let's change things up. I've got my books in the background. I read sometimes. Right? I do have my buddies back there. My Star Wars stuff, my gaming stuff.
So you're a little bit of a nerd.
Yeah, a little bit of a nerd. I got my 9mm over there chilling right there. You can't see it too well, but that's fine. A couple of skulls in the background, but see, it's a much different look than before. And then I can see that because branding is so important. If you're going to just have the camo thing, the guns thing, it's like you're going to automatically delete like, a quarter of the United States just based off of looks. Because I was like, have you watched anything? They're like, no. I'm like, you son of a... You didn't even give it a shot.
And how long has this been going on and you haven't told me? Yeah.
You haven't told me none of this. You have my number. You could literally have texted me this. Nah, anyway, so...
But that is, and I appreciate and love also, just to reemphasize, the way you took that information in. That's a critical point that I just want to emphasize, that if you're going to put content out there, just as much as you should not allow the trolls to get under your skin, you should be open and understand when you are getting feedback that you could learn from. Doesn't mean that you have to take 100% of it, but even if you take a small percentage of it, or the fact that you allow people to give you feedback, I think is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. That really, and this was a while back. This was like, I don't know, last year, I think. Or what's that? When the fuck was this? I don't remember. Anyways, and growth. It's growing. It's not I'm making millions of dollars, I'm done. No, we're always still learning and growing. This is what we want people to take from this, what we're talking about. Like, we're learning and we're growing. We've done some of these. We've had some of these pitfalls. We've stumbled, and we're like, you know what? And we made some changes, and it works.
Like, my ears are finally, just for example, my ears are working this time.
Your ears are working, and you sound so much better than the last time. So see, just 2 little tips makes everything sound better. Because one thing that I've learned about all of this too is that people, they don't know this. They don't actually know this, but when it comes to podcasting, the way it sounds is incredibly important across the board. Humans, just in nature. If it doesn't sound right, quality type wise, then they're like, I'm not gonna listen to this. So
Yeah.
that's good. I'm glad that you made that change because it sounds much better.
It was troubleshooting. It was you and I going back and forth, text message, email, using AI.
Yeah.
How does this effing work? Why won't this connect? Why won't all these things play together? They should.
Yeah. And you figured it out on your own, man. Well, with
I did a female and everything.
You did it. I love it. I love when people just figure things out. They just figure things out. Yes, figure it out. Oh, no more hand holding. I only accept help. I don't know. I'm like, dude, help me out here. Like I will accept it if I don't know. And it's hard. It's hard to say I don't know. But, from a business standpoint, just listen. Listen to some other people. You may learn something. You may grow faster, further. Yes.
Because that's a major trend that has happened. I would say it was happening a little bit before COVID, but COVID really changed things where people not stopped, but instead of trusting what a company was saying, they really were listening to individuals. And now, like.
Do you have any examples, like any specific company that you maybe yourself were like, oh that's great?
Not ones that are polarizing. But I mean, okay, here's a good one that I can use. It's not really political. A good example is, this is gonna sound funny, dog food.
Oh, there you are.
Here I am. Right. We now have seen, like in the last few years, this big push for not homemade, but more natural dog food. 5-10 years ago, you would just get regular dog food from the pet store, and you would take whatever dog food company would say, oh, it's all chicken, it's all beef, blah, 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 blah. Now that we as human beings have food delivery services to our house, like Blue April and I can't think of any others right now, that meal prep that you
Food
can order
Fresh.
for that one too. Yes. Like those. Right?
Oh, wait. Never mind. No, I'm not going to do any free shit here. Sorry. I don't do it.
Cut that out. Just
I know. Talking from a friend.
Talking for a friend. Food. Now there's brands that are doing it for dogs, because I think people started realizing what was actually being put in dog food. It's not. So instead of consumers hearing from a brand, and I won't say any brands because I don't want to crap on them, that yes, what we say is in our food, consumers are now doing more research of understanding what's in our cosmetics, what's in our perfumes, our foods, what's in our dogs' foods. And now consumers are going to thought leaders, individuals that are doing their own research, or brands that have a forward-facing person that's a veterinarian or a doctor to maybe be more trusting and loyal to what the message is. Because it's easier for us as human beings to connect with another human being than connect with a logo or an institution.
I think that's a really good point, because this has been a huge transition from, and we may not even have understood that it was happening, but back in the day, it was like, brand, I'll buy it, brand, I'll buy it, brand, I'll buy it. Now, the things that I purchase now, I don't even know what their logo is, but it is based off of those other things, the research. So coming from us, that's a good strategy to, it sounds like a good strategy to take as a business owner, to start getting, gosh darn it, this is what I was telling you about the other day, that other video I put out the other day about being the lead, man, taking the lead. Take the time and start addressing people. Start putting your values out there, your personality, who you are, your identity, because people are not just trusting logos anymore. It's like, oh, that's a great logo, I guess I better go and purchase their thing. It's like, they're doing a little bit more research. And, so now that there's like AI out there, it's like easier to do research on people and entities, organizations, to figure out, what is this individual about? Oh, look. Yes, buddy.
That's
Zoe.
Zoe's up from
Zoe.
her nap. Hi.
Look at you. You decided not to crop.
Right. I didn't.
Oh, animal lover you.
I know I am. It's Zoe's world and we're all just living in it.
Those dogs are, I don't know if you've seen these, but they're completely different dogs when they're cropped. Like their attitudes are completely like, and then without crop, they're just like, I don't know if it gives them a certain something when you crop them, like they feel different about who they are and what they're doing. Yes, it's just like that, man. We're not buying logos anymore. Now there are certain places that were, I think, especially veteran specific places like, Black Rifle, Born Primitive, those guys, because there's not too many of them out there that are so well known that veterans are like, I'm going to buy because I know them. Like I know where they came from. I know
Well,
their origin story and what they're fighting, their values, where they give their money to. So
yes.
yeah, and they have pretty good products. They have pretty good, designs. So
But same thing with companies that put made in the USA. Consumers are actively searching for products that are fully or majority made in the United States. Because, fun fact,
yikes.
and correct, I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like I'm 99% correct on this. For many product industries, if your product is 50% assembled in the United States, you can put on the packaging made in the United States, which a lot of consumers don't know that. So you could be buying a product that says made in the USA, but it's not technically fully made.
Check. Whoops. It's so cheap to get it made somewhere, especially in bulk.
Yes.
Americans charge so much, dude. They charge so much, and maybe it's the price of materials. I don't know. Maybe it's the degree. You got a special degree in shirt making. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, and that could be a different episode because I actually specialize in packaging design.
Oh,
So I know a lot about the product
package design
world
coming
and
up
packaging.
next.
Yes. Dun, dun, packaging.
Just did it. Branding the logos, because I don't know any of the things that I purchase besides like maybe some energy drinks. Like I know what their logo looks like, of course, but because they're very simple. But anything else, I don't know what their logo is.
I'm with you on that. I will also say I think one of the factors of that could be that in recent years it's become very more mainstream knowledge that many product lines are actually made by one massive brand conglomerate, right? I think that was something that decades ago, or even maybe years ago, to the average consumer, they thought every brand was its own company, where now it comes out that really 10 brands in a certain product arena, let's say beer, right? Like I feel like a lot of us knew, like if you're in the design order, marketing, manufacturing, that you knew that Anheuser-Busch owned a lot of the major beer companies. But now the everyday person kind of knows that. And that goes for a lot of different product-based industries, that brands, they're just kind of like an offshoot of this big master brand. And if you don't like what that master brand is doing, you're not going to buy any of the other product lines underneath it. And consumers will research that. We've learned that in the last few years. Just saying, politically, people have decided very clearly where to put their money based on where that parent company is spending their funds.
Yeah, I think that's happening on the DL too. So there's this jewelry company here in Texas. I'm not going to mention the names, but kind of high price, but they generally make like silver type products, right? They're kind of pricey though, to the average middle class American, kind of pricey. So this is a mom story. So my mom was like, she found this place. She's like, I found this place that they make the exact replicas of what they sell, but like a quarter of the price. And I'm like, Ma, how? I call her Ma, how do they know what they're going to come out with? Like, how do we know this? And I think this is just me. I think that this is a conglomerate of that other company. Let's make a cheaper line, because how else do they have all their molds? How do they know what's coming out next? Like, what's the next line? Like, how can they just spit that out like within the next week? Like, this shit takes time to do. And I'm wondering if maybe they came out with like a Temu version of what they do. They have all their different designs and shit, and it's just cheaper quality. The same, and then it's even the same logo on this Temu version on there, but it's just cheaper. And I'm wondering if they're doing the same thing. If they're like, because that's brilliant, dude. That's brilliant. Let's make a cheaper version of what we're doing. It's still coming to us for the people that can't afford our shit.
Yes, and honestly, like, I'm not going to mention any industries or names, but that is quite common, that a manufacturer in the same building will manufacture one product line, put it under a high-end brand, and then create another product line, maybe using the same technology, ingredients, materials, but
Dude,
a
I'm
lesser
gonna do
brand.
that. I'm gonna do that. So you can get this shirt.
So it's gonna be like meh.
You can get this. You can get.
Instead of bad coach, it's like meh, Coach Rex.
Oh my god. Yes. So you can get this version, Rex, right? It's quasi bad. It's not totally bad.
Not fully, not 100%.
Oh god, dude, that's funny. That's hilarious. And then I'll sell for this one on the website for $25.99, and then I'll just come up with a conglomerate. It's going to sell them for like $10. It is still saying my company. It's the same thing. Let's do it, dude.
Yes, it'll be a brand marketing test.